Hi friends, I thought I'd do something a little bit different this time for my project for a video. I'm hoping to do more of these. I want to take a 6x6 pad of paper and see how many cards can I make with it. Now this idea was inspired by Kristie Marcotte. I would definitely suggest checking out her channel, and I'll give you a link in the notes below to her channel. What Kristie likes to do is take one 6x6 piece of pad of paper and go through and make as many cards as she can and use up the whole thing. Now, I'm not sure that I'm gonna quite do that with this one. We'll see how it goes. But I just want to make cards just using one pad, and let's see what happens. Since this is my first time doing that, I actually typically scrapbook or paper craft with 12x12 paper. However, I've been making a lot of cards, and I find that 6x6 can be better for card making. A lot of times the images are smaller and they just are more suited for card making. And so I thought I'd give this a try. So today I'm going to use this Whimsy Stamps Hocus Pocus pad. As you can tell, it's a Halloween pad. I personally really like the kind of more cutesy Halloween. I'm not really into creepy or scary. So that's just my style. So let's go through the different papers that are in here to start with and just kind of look at them and set them out. And so the first sheet just, gives you a sample. Then we have this really cute little kitty with a candy bucket and some candies, and it's purple with stars. I just love this one. This one is very much my style. These are all double-sided. The back side on this one's a little more creepy for me, so I'm gonna stick to that cute kitty pattern. This next one has some skulls and crossbones, kind of fun, bright colors. I love like piratey kind of stuff, so although I guess it could be creepy, I do like skulls and crossbones, so I'm gonna still use that one. And then the back side of that paper was this pink with spiders. I like the color on this, so I might use it, although I do think the skull and crossbones are more my style than the spiders. This one also has spiders, or it's just the web. I like the webs a little bit more than the spiders. And I love this purple. Purple's actually my favorite color. The back side's a little bit more creepy to me, so I'm probably gonna stick to just this purple spider web. This one has a black and white spider web. And these little cute ghosts are cute, but still just not as much my style, so I'm probably gonna stick to this one. Then these are, they have little bats and skulls and crossbones and candies, so that's fun. And then the back side of that one has more bats, which again, I really like bats, so I think that's fun. Here we have some more skulls and crossbones, and then I think that might be like a moon. This one's kind of fun. That I would use. And then the back side of that one is this pink with black X's. I don't know what that pattern's called. I don't know if that has a name, but that I would definitely use. We're back to spiders. This one, I'm not as much of a fan of the little rest in peace. I do like the potions, so those are fun. But I will probably use this side. So I'm gonna leave those facing up. Now we have this kitty. I think these are bright and colorful, even though the kitty looks a little bit spookier than I probably normally do. And the back side is this fun witch's hat with a broom and some purple candy canes, which are a little bit different. I actually like both of those, so I will leave them both up. Over here we have a black and orange check. And on this side, these aren't too creepy. I could still use them, but he is a little spooky. So I might stick more to this side of this one. And then we have this fun little pumpkins with a happy jack-o'-lantern and a witch's hat. Those are really fun. And this I love and would use, but I really like bats. So I'm probably going to actually lean towards the bats on both of them, just because I have kind of a thing for bats. Then we have the skulls and crossbones. Again, I really actually like skulls and crossbones. This one, not a big fan of the back side of it. It's a little more, I'm not a huge fan of the like rest in peace and that kind of stuff for my Halloween. So I will probably go this side. Then we have just a black and white stripe. Can't go wrong with that. On this side, I actually think the eyes are kind of fun. Fingers aren't my thing. So I will probably go with that side. So that just gives you an idea of the paper in this pad. So these are the pattern papers that I'm going to use. I am also going to pair them with some cardstock. So let me get these out of the way and I'll show you the cardstock that I have selected to use. So just some bright colors that I think go really well. And then of course some black cardstock. And then I have some oranges and some purples that I think will all go really well with these pattern papers. So I think that'll be a good combination and it'll be fun. And then the other thing that I have are some Whimsy Stamps dies that I wanted to use. So this is the Whimsy Stamps metal craft die. It's the Slimline Stars background. The Slimline cards have become more and more trendy lately. They are a card that's long and narrow, and so I thought this would be a fun one to use. And it's really fun because it actually leaves you with a bunch of confetti that you could use as well, or a fun background. So like I cut it out from some purple and you can see it's kind of a cool background. And then the other die that I have that I wanted to show off was this. It's the Peekaboo Window 2 by Whimsy Stamps. And then I have some sentiments I'm going to use by Pink and Vein. And this is just kind of perfectly lined up that those sentiments just fit right here in that window. So I think those will be good to use together. And I just thought these were really fun, spooktacular, frightful and delightful, wicked fun, happy fall, hello fall, autumn greetings, flannel season. I wish it was flannel season here. I'm in the Phoenix area and it's not flannel season here. Grateful and thankful, harvest time, trick or treat, happy Thanksgiving, happy Halloween, give thanks, pumpkin spice love, and happy haunting. And I just thought this was a really fun set. So I'm gonna try to keep my card to mostly those. I might add a few sequins or other embellishments, but for the most part, what I've shown you is what I'm going to use. The one other thing I am going to use, I had this pad of paper that was from these. As you can see, I made envelopes. They were 12 by 12, and this is one of the things I love to do. I have a video on making envelopes, so you should go check that out if you have not done so already. And I love to just go through and make a bunch of envelopes. You take a 12 by 12 and you cut it down to an 8 by 8, and then you end up with all of these scraps that are still really good size, and I will use those as well in making these cards. And then I would love for these to be the coordinating envelopes that we use with the cards. So I'm hopeful that the cards will end up kind of matching these. And I have 26 of these, so I have plenty to make a bunch of Halloween cards, and I have coordinating envelopes to use. So let's go ahead and get started, and I hope that you enjoy watching this and have fun learning about some ideas for making cards. Okay, for our first card, I went ahead and did a little bit of the assembly just to save some time. So I'm going to do the slimline card. I went ahead and adhered a piece of black cardstock onto the card base, and then I die cut out this purple cardstock using Whimsy Stamps slimline star. But I wanted to add a little bit of a pop of kind of a bright color for the stars behind it, so I'm using those scraps that I have left over. I won't have an envelope the size for this out of those that pretty paper. I'm using art glitter glue. This is one of my favorite liquid adhesives. It goes on pretty lightly, and if you do happen to make some mess like I often do, it dries clear, and so it's really forgiving for people like me who may be messy. And it's one of the better adhesives for things that actually stay put that I've found. So I really enjoy this. I apologize if you are a perfectionist. Watching me do this is probably not calming, as I have titled my channel, but I am not a perfectionist when it comes to crafts. So just try to get it in there so that, you know, it'll stay put, but it's not perfect. You just need enough of it on there that you won't get things moving all about on you. So it's not perfect. It's very forgiving. I like things that are forgiving. That's a better option for me. Rub some of that. And kind of line this up as best we can. As you can see, not perfect. And then this, we're just gonna glue on to that card base. And again, this glue is just amazing. Like this. And then I had this cute little kitty, and I decided I would mount it, and this came out of the pattern paper Hocus Pocus pad with a working on, and I wanted to mount it onto some black cardstock as well. I have my Misty tool over here, which I only have the mini Misty, so I have to cut things down for them to fit. I kind of like this frightful and delightful, in spite of not liking scary things. I think it's a fun sentiment, and as a cat lover, I think it very well fits most kitties. So this is the first time I have used these stamps, and I do find sometimes with a clear stamp they stick when you first use them. So sometimes I've heard all sorts of tips. Sometimes I just go through it and kind of rub it a little bit or stamp it before I even add ink a few times, just to make it not so sticky so it doesn't pull the paper up when I'm stamping. So that's just my little tip that I have. It's still pulling a little bit, but I think we're okay. I'm going to use this Fun Stamper's Journey Black Licorice. This is one of my favorite black inks. The nice thing about the Misty, if you aren't familiar with it, is that when you pull it up, if you didn't have a great image, that one actually came out really well, so I'm okay, I'm not going to do it again. But if you didn't, you could easily just restamp, and it holds the position, which is very nice. I'm just like, that didn't get quite as close as I wanted, so sometimes I will go back in with some scissors and cut it. And let's see, you know, still just want a little bit off that end. So there we go. So this, look at, how do I want to put that on there? Maybe like that, or I think that I want to add make it look more like a banner. Maybe something like that. Yeah, let's cut this down a little bit more. These just on the back of the sentiment. giant thing of phone tape. And it needs a little something more. So these are by Pretty Pink Posh, and it's the Friendship Confetti Mix. This little tool. Again, that adhesive dries clear, so it won't look quite as crazy that I have adhesive all over. Let's try that again. I think I just want one more dot up there. Maybe do one more there. Oh, I think I'm good. So there you go. That's my first card using that Hocus Pocus set. and the Whimsy Stamps Slimline Stars die. So for the next cards, I thought we would do a sketch. And so I'm just gonna assemble them. You can watch as I go. So for this sketch, I'm using this bat paper. As I said before, I really love bats. They are one of my favorite animals. I love a lot of animals though, so it's kind of funny when I say that because I really do love animals. But I kind of didn't want this one to be super spooky because I don't like the idea of people being afraid of bats. I actually just think they're kind of cool as a whole. And I apologize if you notice that I have little scratches on my hands. I'm actually fostering a litter of kittens right now, so I have some fun kitten or cat nails that I did. These are Color Street, but I also have some custom little scratches from my little guys. They're bottle babies. I'm feeding them with a bottle right now. And sometimes they get really excited about grabbing onto that bottle and end up scratching a little bit. Oops. So the choices in the first few cards that I'm doing, I really went for the stuff that matched this orange paper that I showed you before, that I just have a bunch of to use up because I want them to coordinate with the envelopes that I made using that paper. So I thought I'd use those first. There's going to be a few that just, you know, I didn't want to use that orange on it. And so that's okay. Not everything has to have the orange. But I wanted to use some of those first so I could make it coordinate well. And I'm going to put this on its card base. Oops. Okay. And then this guy is going to go in here. I think though that I will trim off just a little bit of that. It didn't line up quite as I wanted it to. And then these, the sketch shows two strips, and they look like you could use ribbon or stickers. And I just happen to have some kind of scraps of this cardstock, oops, that I thought I would use up. Looks like I might need to trim off a little bit on that edge. And it's kind of fun to be able to use up some scraps on something. Maybe I'll just use scissors instead for that. A little bit where it kind of hangs over. You'll notice that sometimes my stuff is a little bit crooked. If you are OCD, my cards might drive you a little bit crazy, and I apologize for that. But my philosophy is that it's handmade, and part of being handmade is that it's not perfect. So I think I'll add that maybe right there. might consider doing foam with the other one. I don't love how it kind of hangs off like that. Let's see. Ooh. So, there's that one. Let's move on to the next one. Let's do this guy. Actually, let's move this down before we glue that. I stamped a bunch of these sentiments at once using my Misty. The nice thing about the Misty is you can just line up the stamp and just keep re-inking and stamping, and you can do kind of a bulk. There's that one. Okay, so there's card number 6. I like it. Hopefully you do too. And then we have this guy, very similar, but I made a few changes. So first of all, I decided not to back the card completely with black. I'm using pink for the background. And we're just gonna kind of center it. I'm gonna leave the card base white with pink. And then this time, because I had cut the pattern this way, I'm gonna turn it. And I have the black paper that I could do that directly. But what I think I'll do is I'll actually angle these. Let's see what this looks like if I do that. So I decided to go ahead and add the 2 strips that I didn't have here yet. And I actually decided that I thought it would be fun to put the Wicked Fun there on that. And so I think I'm going to pop it up with some foam. These 2 I need to be just a little angled. For this, I decided to use thin foam squares. The ones I used on the last set were just a little too thick for my personal taste. The thin foam squares give you a little dimension, but they're not quite as thick, so they just don't kind of pop all over the place, in my opinion. And I like that. It's just kind of the perfect amount of foam in for me. So there you go, that's card number 7. It's kind of a fun punk rocker-ish, but still Halloween. Or you could just use it even for a birthday or something like that. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty with my video, and I had to stop recording the other day. And as it so happens, life kind of got in the way. And I did not get a chance to finish up my video as soon as I would have liked to. And so I'm coming back to it now, and we are actually on November 1st. And you might be thinking that's kind of late for some Halloween cards. And you're not wrong. Last Halloween, I made about 100 cards, and I didn't use all of them. I was able to use them this Halloween, thankfully, which was wonderful. And I actually did about 20 boo bags for my neighbors, which was a lot of fun. And I put one of those cards in each of the boo bags. And I should have recorded those. Maybe I'll do that next year so that you can see my process for making boo bags as well. But I wanted to go ahead and finish up this card, or these cards, this 6x6 stack of pattern paper. As I said early on, this is inspired by Kristie Marcotte, and I'm learning a lot in doing it. And I encourage you, try different things with your card making. I didn't used to be someone that used very much in the way of pattern paper, and so I'm learning more about using pattern paper and sketches. And so, mix things up, try something a little different. One of the things that I've definitely found in doing this is that Kristie will typically go from her large scraps to her small. And this one, I liked the idea of doing this. And so I cut up a whole bunch of stuff before maybe I was at the point I needed to. And I maybe have a little bit more tiny scraps than I like. And so I think one of my lessons learned is that I will definitely focus on making more large, more cards with large pieces first before I get to the tinier scraps next time. That was a lesson learned. But sometimes you don't learn these things unless you try them. And so there's definitely value to trying things, So I encourage you just to experiment and try new things. Try something different than how you usually do things. And see how that goes for you. So I'm just gonna be gluing these in, and then I have some fun Halloween sentiments that I'm gonna add in that middle piece after. So I just finished gluing all of these in. So they're all just a little bit different. And as you can see, I also went ahead and stamped that sentiment right there in the middle. Most of them I did Happy Halloween. There were a few I thought that Spooktacular looked kind of cute on. And so that's a super simple way to just use up some of those tinier scraps and have a bunch of cards. I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of that really simple, just this one die, some scraps, and then the sentiments. And all of those sentiments came from that same Pink and Main kit, or set. So 9 cards, how cool is that? So for this next part, I actually took each of the papers that I had left, and I cut them down to just the basic card base size. And then once I had that, so I had a whole bunch of them, I cut them into 3 different strips. And then I just rearranged. They're not all the same. This one obviously has the bigger, then middle, then small. And this one I kind of swapped those. And so I just kind of looked at what I thought looked good together and glued them down on a card base based on what I had left and what I liked the look of. Most of them went this way. This one I actually had cut this way kind of on accident. But the beauty of paper crafting is it's so easy to fix things. So since it went this way, I just changed my card so that it opens this way. And that's part of what I love about paper crafting. It's so easy. So this one, you know, goes the other way. But there's really no real mistakes. Everything can just be, you know, glued above. So then what I'm doing is I'm adding a sentiment. Again, I wanted to keep these simple. And so I have this die cut from Queen & Co. from one of their foundation sets. And I just stamped Trick or Treat from the Pink and Main set, that their Halloween sentiments. And so I did Trick or Treat. I did give this one a few of these little sequins. And then again, I had one over here where, so I die cut a big stack of them that I'm going to start gluing. Had one I messed up. The Pink and Main sentiment actually, the Queen & Co. Die actually has an oval that you could put on top. This would look lovely with a black background. I, however, did not have enough black cardstock right now. I need to order some more. So I did cut another one in white just to cover up where I had messed it up and kept this, and it just adds some more dimension. So I'm gonna go through and just glue all of these down. And they're just gonna be really simple cards. So some of them I may center, some I might put off to the side. Just kind of depends on how I feel about that particular one as I lay it down. I'm not super precise in my card making. I do a lot based off my, see, I mess stuff up all the time. I do a lot based off how I like the look of something. And this back here, if you can see, I just got a little smudge there. So let's see if we have something maybe in the scraps. Oh, I do. So looks like I meant to add some little design on the back, but really just covering up my oopsie. So there's always, I like to call them opportunities for embellishments. I really like this art glitter glue. It dries clear, and so if you're a little bit messy, it's much more forgiving than some of the options out there. I like that one. I like that purple, black, and green combo. So when I finished these up, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. As you can see, a couple of them I chose to add the sequins to, but I didn't feel they were necessarily necessary on all the others. So this time I chose to keep it a little bit simpler and not add them to all of them, but you could if you wanted to. So there's another 12 cards that I have finished with that one pad of paper. So I'm back with my fun box of cards that are done. I didn't record everything as I made it because it ended up being really time consuming. It actually took me a lot more time than I thought it was going to be, but I'm really happy with the results, and I hope that you enjoy them and maybe get a little inspiration out of this as well. There are actually 59 cards in here. Isn't that crazy? And Halloween is over for this year, but that's okay. I have them in this cute box, and I'm just going to pack them away for the season, and next Halloween I'll pull them out. And I've got myself a bunch of Halloween cards to send, so I'm kind of excited that I'm a little bit ahead of the game this year. So we'll start with the first one, which I did show how I made, and this uses that Slim Lines die by Whimsy Stamps, and that Fun Star die, which I look forward to being able to use again. I think it'd be great for like birthdays or maybe Christmas, and just a little accent of that paper here on the side. So this one's a fun one. I did also go through, I used up every bit of that paper pad, and so some of them I added on the inside. So that's the first one. Then I did go ahead and finish these up that I had done the video showing that I had cut down just to a standard card base size and then cut into 3 different strips and kind of alternated them. And I just went ahead and added, I used a Queen & Co die and that Pink and Main stamp, and I just gave them a really simple card just with that sentiment, but I love that little kind of pop on them. They do also have some pattern paper on the inside. few of them had a little bit of extra decor. This one I messed up on the stamping, so I just gave it that extra layer. And if I wanted to, I could add a lot more embellishment, maybe a cute little spider or something fun on these later, but I kind of like them simple and they definitely work for now. Okay, so then next ones, let's show you this. This also uses a die by Whimsy Stamps, and so this part is the die, and then I just cut the pattern papers and mixed them up, and then again that pink and Maine sentiment on the inside. There's just kind of a fun variety of them. I really like this one because purple's my favorite color. And there you go. I kind of like that black and orange though too. And then let's go back to, you've already seen these, but let's just go back to them. This was that original one that I did actually try to use a sketch for this, which is a little different. I don't do a lot of sketches, but I liked that strip that it added to the side. And I had this one that I followed a similar sketch that I hadn't finished, so I just used the bats, and then I did some Love from Lizzie stickers, and then these have some of those stars again. And this actually had that same square like some of the other, or this rectangle like the others. It's a little different. It has some embossed paper, the Love from Lizzie stickers, and then a square here. I wasn't really following a sketch with it, just kind of was playing with adding some other layers. Another one, again, I didn't play with sketches on this one. I just sometimes like to just play with things and move things around. And so it has more of those stars, and just kind of had fun with it. Another one with the embossed background. I did add a little wink of Stella to the bats to make them stand out a little more. Otherwise, that was kind of hard to see. And this used up some tiny scraps I had, and then that scrap. These I embossed and then I inked, which kind of gave it a different look. Same with this. This one I actually didn't give a sentiment to. I thought with the Boo and Scary, it kind of already had something going. It just didn't feel like it needed more. Another embossed background. This one I did color with Wink of Stella, all of these stars. I don't know if you can see that, the shimmer it adds. And then this one I had inked over the pirates. And this one I inked those pumpkins, and I think that's just really fun. So in these, I had cut down a bunch of strips that were just this 4x5 size of those pattern papers. And so I thought it was kind of fun just to do the circle without anything more. Kind of looked like a moon to me with this bat paper. And then I just gave it some little gems that I thought it kind of made it look like stars. I don't know. It's a little different from my typical style, but I thought it was fun. And then I just made 2 of those. And then a bunch of these I have kind of a similar to. This one I used the cat paper. I had a little bit more of it on here, a little less there, but I added the stars just to make it a little different. I also used those Love from Lizzie, and I like how it kind of almost looks like cat whiskers. So again, this wasn't a sketch that I had seen, but I kind of made my own where I used that paper, the 4x5, and then one of these Queen & Co. sentiments, and I started just adding strips of either stickers or paper behind it. I kind of like the look. So that one has the same, and here's another one, and more. This one this was actually the leftover of one of the die cuts, and I kind of liked the look of that. And that one, oh, this is the same as the other one. So I did a few duplicates. The cats, but a little bit of bling. Oops, we're upside down. This one I had a little fun adding stars and bling. So. And then all of these were pretty much one-offs. I had just a couple of tiny scraps, and so I mounted them. I did a little black and white behind for contrast, and then just that sentiment on a Queen & Co. Foundations die. This is actually a foundations die as well. I like that banner. Again, just a small scrap. This one's a slightly bigger scrap, so I didn't get it the stars like the other. Another small scrap. And another one. I saved that cat paper because I really liked it. And so I kind of played with it a little bit more towards the end. This, I just had these two left over. Actually, this was what I did with. So these I had cut down the 4x5. And then I had this long strip of 6x2. And so I did this one, and then their smaller scraps did that. So those two are from the same two papers. Again, just two. This used up an itty bitty scrap. That star actually comes from the Queen & Co. Foundation dies as well. And I added a little wink of Stella to it, and I think it's just really fun. So I said I used every single scrap. These tiny little pieces were left over, and I had fun mounting them on. This is the square that was the inside of that die that I had, and so I mounted those there. A few more layers of mounting, and then this Love from Lizzie sticker. Did do a little inside paper, a little strip on the back. And the very last one, when I tell you I used everything, this one's kind of fun. This is actually the packaging. So it showed you what all the little cards were, or papers, sorry, what all the different papers were that were on the whole thing. And so I just cut that down and got rid of the marketing pieces around it, mounted it on some black cardstock, gave it a little sentiment with that Queen & Co. And then the little stars are leftovers from what came out of that first card. So there you go. That's all of my 59 cards that I have made for Halloween that I will get to send out next year. So I hope that you enjoyed my video. This was my first time doing this kind of thing. I've never used up an entire 6x6 pad before. As I said in the beginning, this was inspired by Kristie Marcotte. I have not seen her use this paper pad before, which I think she tends to like cutesy like I do. Maybe this is a little bit more spooky than she would do. I do like some of those, like bats, I don't really consider too spooky. But either way, I hope that you enjoyed it and it was enough different. I don't follow sketches, but I'm actually considering playing with those and trying those. And so since I do things on my own a little differently, hopefully it didn't feel like it was too similar to her stuff, but inspired by. I really enjoy her work, so definitely go check out her channel if you haven't, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.